And you'd have to, I mean, there have been remarkable safety advances, especially with tractors, and so you mentioned machinery. Do we see appreciable improvement in safety with tractors?
Unfortunately, we don't have, I guess, data to that level of detail. What we are seeing is there seems to be less children dying as a result of a run over from a tractor. We probably can attribute that to more cabs on more tractors, so it's probably just an engineering improvement that's allowing the child to stay within the tractor and not falling out.
How do you come to terms with, I've heard the saying before, the farm safety risk paradox, and really just a fancy way of saying that we understand the poor risk, the risk that we face and the poor chances that we have, and yet we still do it. You have to design programs on a national basis. How do you come to terms with the fact that farmers, even though they know statistically they're in a dangerous industry, they continue to do some of these dangerous practices? How do you come to terms with that?
I think it all goes back to almost your opening comment about culture, and I believe we're seeing a change there in the culture. For example, with safety days, we know that if a child attends a safety day, that it'll change their behavior, and also the volunteers that participate in the safety day, the planning of the safety day, their behaviors also change. And so just the fact that you're holding or helping to plan a safety day in your community can help change that culture. We're also seeing when we talk to farmers with the survey, etc., that farmers are saying, I'm having a hard time attracting workers, I'm having a hard time keeping workers, and I don't want to have that risk of being sued if I don't have a safe workplace. So farmers are now saying, I need some help, I want to improve my safety record. And then they recognize all the other parts, that if there's an incident that happens on the farm, who's going to be the main breadwinner? I guess, and the whole social toll for community and for families, I think, and I'd like to believe that whole culture of it just happens to it can't happen. Most of us want to make a difference is actually on the right track.
I wonder if awareness is part of this. I grew up on the farm, and I look back at what we did as kids. I had a tree fort that was probably 25, 30 feet off the ground, and I look back at that now and think, man, that probably wasn't the safest thing to do. And yet I wonder if that perspective is a distance thing. It's about awareness. I mean, 3 decades ago, our parents didn't really think it was a big deal not to wear seatbelts. And now, of course, we all wear seatbelts. Is there that awareness thing that it isn't just about common sense, but we have to know about this? I guess more directly the question, is there a place like a farm audit that we can go to get some of this information?
Well, what the farmers are asking when they want to make a difference is, okay, what steps do I take? And CASA is working with champions in each province to make those available to farmers. What we'd like to do is make it a lot easier for farmers to start their own safety plan, and not wait to have to do it because of regulations or because of the laws that are in place. A simple thing like, for example, people think it's common sense to know where you live. But if you ever have to phone 911 because there's been an incident or an injury, or your child has to phone 911, can they actually tell the ambulance where your farm is, what location it is? It's surprising sometimes how you think common sense stuff that everybody should know. Of course, everybody knows where you live, right? Try when you're under stress to tell 911. So part of a safety plan could actually even be having the directions of your farm right by the telephone, so that if ever that call had to be made, the first responders know where to go.
And is there a contact point? You've got a website?
We've got a website, and what we're trying to do on that website is really provide links for farmers that are interested, for youth, new workers, to make it easy for them to start that whole process of developing a safety plan. Okay. In the background, we're also doing some research with things that work to evaluate, because farmers want to know what works, what doesn't. And we're also working with suppliers and manufacturers to see if there are improvements that can be made to equipment.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. I noticed at the end of that feature you mentioned you got a bump on your head when you were younger. How's the bump?
The bump's good. The bump's good.
Marcel, thanks so much. I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Great. Marcel Hacault is Executive Director of the Canadian Agricultural Safety Association in Winnipeg. Stay with us. AgVision will continue after this. This AgVision program is made possible through the generous support of Syngenta Seeds NK brand, the results you need, the freedom to choose. And by Farms.com, ag news, market prices, ag careers, and farm real estate. You'll find it all at Farms.com. And by FarmCenter.com. It's the only farm management resource center you need. Looking ahead to our next program, you've operated your farm for a long time. Maybe you took it over from your parents. As you age, the question becomes, could you become the hired help again on your farm? Effective succession plans often result in the farm being turned over to the next generation, and then dad, and often mom, essentially become the hired help. Elaine Fraze will apply some context to this scenario, which typically requires some serious stick handling around some of the soft issues. Also, we'll take you to a Quebec dairy farm where 7 families are making a living from the same operation. It's a story that highlights 76 years of successful intergenerational farming, and believe me, repeatedly turning the farm over to the next generation successfully is much easier said than done. In the meantime, you can view nearly all of the video features seen here on AgVision by simply visiting the website. It's AgVisionTV.com. Also, you'll find a host of short decision-making videos at eharvest.com. Thanks for your time, and hope you'll join us next time on AgVision.